All right, the world of higher education never stands still. And let me tell you, the brand new 2026 rankings for West Africa are making some serious waves. So today, we're going to break down who's claimed those top spots, who the rising stars are, and really what this all means for the future of education in this incredibly dynamic region.
But hey, before we just dive right into the list, let's back up for a second and ask a really big question. What actually makes a university great, Is it all about the groundbreaking research that literally changes the world? Is it that big name reputation that opens doors for you after you graduate? Or is it something else? It's a question that really gets to the core of what we think is important in education.
Okay, so to even try and answer that, we need some way to measure these schools, right? To compare them. And that's exactly where these global ranking systems, think of them as scorecards, come into play. And trust me, understanding how these scorecards work is key to making any sense of the list, so let's dive in and take a closer look. This is such an exciting time to be talking about this. We are seeing this huge surge in higher education all across West Africa. These universities are really stepping onto the global stage, and they're getting some serious recognition for their top-notch research, their amazing teaching, and this growing network of international partnerships they're building. So the main measuring stick we're going to be looking at today is the Times Higher Education World University Rankings. You'll hear it called THE. Now, this thing is a massive global table that looks at a whole bunch of different factors. It's not just about the quality of teaching or the research environment. It also digs deep into how often a university's research gets cited by other scholars. It even looks at how well they work with industry and just how international their vibe is.
But THE isn't the only game in town. Not at all. There's also the QS World University Rankings, and they do things a little differently. See, while THE is super focused on the hard data of research and citations, QS puts a ton of weight on reputation. We're talking about what other academics think, and maybe even more importantly, what employers all over the world think about a school. So you can see how a top university might look totally different depending on which scorecard you're using.
All right, so now that we've got the rules of the game down, it is time for the main event. Let's count down the top 5 universities in West Africa for 2026. These are the schools that have climbed to the very top, getting some major global recognition.
And taking that #1 spot, it's the University of Cape Coast in Ghana. Wow, this is a huge deal, placing them in the top 1,000 universities in the entire world, according to the TA rankings. They're getting noticed for being especially strong in the quality of their research and for having this really international outlook. Basically, they're working with other schools and researchers all across the globe.
Coming in hot at #2 is another powerhouse from Ghana, the University of Ghana, Legon. Now, here's what's so interesting. Remember those QS rankings we talked about? Well, this is where the University of Ghana really shines. What that tells us is that academics and employers all over the world have a ton of respect for this place, especially when it comes to how well their grads do in the job market and just how strong their international research network is.
Next up, at #3, we've got Nigeria's oldest degree-granting institution, the University of Ibadan. And they are making a huge statement because they've also broken into that top-tier global 1,000 bracket in the THE rankings. It's just clear proof of their long-standing, deeply respected reputation for being excellent across a whole bunch of different subjects. And right on their heels, at #4, is another Nigerian heavyweight, the University of Lagos, or as you might know it, UNILAG. They've also snagged a spot in that elite global group, which is just a massive milestone for the university. It really highlights the growing power and ambition of Nigerian universities on the world stage, and it's all being driven by their impactful research and their strong global connections.
And now for #5. And folks, this is a truly historic moment. The University Cheikh Anta Diop in Dakar, Senegal, has made it into the Times Higher Education rankings for the very first time. This is an absolute game changer. Seriously, it's a huge signal that the rest of the world is finally starting to pay close attention to the incredible research and scholarship that's been coming out of Francophone West Africa.
Yeah, this quote really says it all, doesn't it? This isn't just a win for one university. No way. It's a massive step forward for the entire Francophone academic community. In the region, it's a powerful sign that their voices are being heard loud and clear, and that their work is having a real, tangible impact on a global scale.
But wait, the story doesn't end there. The next 5 schools on our list? These are the regional powerhouses and some really exciting rising stars. And they prove that making a huge impact isn't just about cracking the top 1,000 globally. So let's see who they are and what makes them tick.
Kicking off the back half of our list at number 6 is Ghana's Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. You probably know it as KNUST. These guys are always, and I mean always, ranked as one of the top universities in Ghana. They've built this incredible reputation in the super important STEM fields. That's science, technology, engineering, and math. They are absolutely at the forefront of innovation in the region.
All right, at number 7, we've got one of Nigeria's most respected institutions, Obafemi Awolowo University. Now, this is a perfect example of a university whose reputation is just immense. It's the kind of deep respect that these global rankings can't always quite capture, you know? They're known far and wide for having incredible programs across the board. We're talking everything from engineering and law to the humanities.
Sliding into our number 8 spot is Bayero University Kano, another one from Nigeria. Now they've landed in that next tier of the THE rankings, which is a fantastic placement that shows off their steady, impressive growth and their real academic muscle, especially in the sciences and social sciences. This is definitely a university you're going to want to keep an eye on.
At number 9, we have a first for our list, a private university, Covenant University. They've also broken into that 1,001 to 1,200 range globally, but what's really cool is how they're doing it. See, they run on a totally different model. It's all about building these super strong partnerships with industry and just churning out a high volume of research. It's a fantastic example of how private schools are really making their mark.
And rounding out our top 10 is the University for Development Studies, back in Ghana. This one is a really fascinating school because its mission is just so crystal clear. They're known for being one of Ghana's most progressive universities, and they have this laser focus on community development and practical, hands-on research in health and innovation. They are literally making a difference in people's lives right there in their own community.
So there you have it. That's our top 10. But let's not just stop there. What does this list really tell us about the state of higher education in West Africa as a whole? It's time to zoom out, look at the big picture, and see what the major trends are.
Well, this chart pretty much paints the whole picture, doesn't it? You can see right away who the current heavyweights are. Nigeria and Ghana are, without a doubt, the leaders of the pack, with 5 and 4 universities in the top 10. And then you've got that historic single entry from Senegal, which, as we said, is just a super exciting development for the whole region.
So what are the big takeaways here? Well, it kind of boils down to 3 key things. First, you've got this clear dominance by Anglo-West African countries. Nigeria and Ghana make up 9 out of the 10 schools. Second, you have that incredibly important Francophone breakthrough with Senegal, and that could be a sign of a major shift to come. And finally, this list shows us that success isn't just one thing. It's a mix of getting that global ranking, for sure, but it's also about having a powerful, undeniable impact right there at home in the region. And that brings us to one last thought to leave you with. As these universities all across West Africa keep climbing the ladder and getting more and more global attention, the real question becomes, who's going to be next? The race is officially on to break into this elite group, and honestly, it's going to be absolutely fascinating to watch.